Hi everyone. In this episode, I get a chance to speak with Anant Jain. Anant is a software engineer at BharatPe. I first got to know about Anant when I was scrolling through my LinkedIn and I saw a post on DevShadi. The post had created a lot of excitement, and I reached out to Anant asking if he would be interested in doing an episode with me on the launch of DevShadi. So this is that episode. This episode is mostly categorized into two parts. So the first half is mostly the launch of DevShadi. How did Anand come up with the idea? How much time did it take for him to develop this? Who should sign up? Advice, stuff like that. The second part is mostly on being a good software engineer. Do you need a master's for you to be a good software engineer or get a good placement, stuff like that, and the impact of AI, that's the impact of AI on software engineering, and much more. I had a great time recording this, and I hope you guys find it useful. One quick disclaimer is that generally when I record my episodes, I go to the person's location, their office or their house and stuff like that, and I do my recording there. But because Anand lives in Delhi, we had to do this remotely, and I couldn't. I didn't have any other location to record in, so I did it at my place. So the background is not very professional, and my apologies for that. I hope you guys don't find it awkward or uncomfortable or stuff like that. So again, my apologies. I've learned my lesson, and so with that, my dear friends, Anant Jain.
So I was wondering, so if you look at the dating market, right? So there is Tinder, there is Bumble, Hinge, Shadi.com, and many other matrimonial sites. I was also going through. I think there are specific matrimonial sites for IITs and IIM people and all that nonsense. So the question is like, why is another matrimonial site needed?
So yeah, of course, I'm a user of almost all the platforms you have told me. I've experienced them, and I'm an active user to be honest. And the thing is, like if you see about Hinge, Bumble, there is a separate segment of dating altogether, and then there is Shadi.com, Jeevan Sati, which are more of Shadi oriented platforms. The thing is that if you talk about Jeevan Sati, Shadi.com, they are mostly jointly operated, by parents, family members, as well as the bride or groom himself or herself. And the thing with Hinge and Mumble, of course, that okay, users themselves use it, but at the same time, there could be a certain level of of casualness or playfulness around those platforms. So the very first thing I could see a gap easily was the fact that there is no such platform which is actually that serious as that of Shadi or Jeevan Sati, but to be used by the user himself or herself. Something which is sitting in between these two platforms or between these two regions, operated by the users themselves, at the same time, geeky, or at the same time, operating in such a way that it is to be operated by users only. Of course, we have login with GitHub or LinkedIn, which is something people usually have their own accounts only. At the same time, I've used these platforms, and there was definitely one thing which is keeping this idea or this entire platform apart, is the fact that I'm putting that touch of a tech oriented or a developer oriented platform. So of course, if you talk about jeevansadishadi.com, there are certain filters which could be applied, like software engineers, etc. But then, like, I've taken that niche and just implemented the entire solution out of it. So anyone can say, okay, this is just a filter, right? But then in that case, any website, let's say, with this logic, Adidas should not sell shoes on their platform, okay? Because Amazon, Flipkart can have a filter of shoes, right? So, like, of course, there is a level of speciality in a platform, which is definitely driven towards the fact that it is for techies. Now, of course, that speciality comes into various factors, which you will get to know when you use the website. There is a element of geekiness all around the platform. There is a level of checks, some coding questions for an entry point. At the same time, giving some cool geeky terms which are very common in techies but not so common beyond the techie world. So of course, I see that sitting there somewhere, having a clear market segment. At the same time, of course, I myself will be one of the prime users, and yeah, looking forward to how the response goes for it once it launches. Yeah.
Is there a similar platform like this globally at all? Like, is there something like this in the US or any other market where something is focused only for developers?
So I am aware of platforms, which are kind of focusing towards specific domains like doctors, etc., but not really towards tech. I could not find any platform which was just tech oriented. Yeah, I could not find any platform. Yeah.
On the geekiness aspect, what I'm kind of thinking of is, will that restrict the number of people? Are you concerned that it's going to restrict? the number of people who can potentially sign up, do you think it's going to restrict the market in itself, or do you think you look at that as a positive, like only focused on, let's say, people who are geeky or people who are in tech?
So of course, two aspects of it. One is definitely it can restrict the market segment, considering the fact that there are certain elements which are very very tech oriented. But at the same time, once you get that specialization, you also get that quality, right? You are very clear on the fact that you are looking for certain domain people only to interact with, and that is where things kind of become easy. So what I've done, considering both these factors, is the fact that I've kept that geeky element, but at the same time, it is going to be open for non-tech people as well. But it's just going to be like a flag which is denoting that they are non-tech people. Basically, it's not something okay we can entirely restrict, because anyways anyone can search the answer to the coding question which I'm going to ask. So if you are actually putting that much efforts to get into the platform, I think you definitely deserve to be my user. So yeah, I mean, like, both aspects definitely. If you at the landing page itself realize that okay, this looks very techie or geeky oriented, techie oriented, not for me, maybe you can of course skip to sign up. But yes, if you find yourself find it interesting, creative, you might want to explore profiles. So definitely, you're open to sign up there as well. Yeah.
Understood. Because one thing that I did have in mind was, I think there would be, like, because software engineering in general and tech in general is a very highly paid profession, right? I was wondering that there might be people who may be looking for potentially rich mates and may want to sign up as well. So there, I think you have your different filters and all that. So if they truly crack it, maybe they do deserve the gold. I think, I don't know.
Definitely. And one more point I have on this is the fact that it's very common for software engineers to be introverts, considering the fact that we spend a lot of time on screens, right? Our human interaction is kind of a bit low as compared to other consumer facing roles. And I think the very common topic in which each and every software engineer can talk or vibe on is the fact that the tech, which because they are doing every day, okay, whatever they are doing every day in terms of tech, they are kind of very comfortable in communicating. So it's more of if someone is of the same domain, you have a lot of common topics to talk on, and you can get that vibe. Okay, this is a word which is across techies common. So there won't be any as such confusions, or I would say level of comfort would be much more as compared to talking to someone who is not of the same profession. So yes, I think that is also one point, and I've gotten this as a point from a lot of potential users on one of my posts as well. So yeah.
So here, what frameworks or what kind of languages do you think will generally gel or will go together well? I mean, let's say I know JavaScript or I know TensorFlow, and what is the other language that other person might know or will maybe help us get along together? Do you have any preferences on that? Let's say, for example, I know PyTorch, so I may get along well with, let's say, somebody who knows LangChain or I don't know, some other framework. So do you have any frameworks preference like that?
To be honest, it's a bit too much if I kind of consider these factors as well into kind of matchmaking algo or things like this. But yes, I mean, what I've done instead is having the specific domains in tech. Let's say software engineer full stack, software engineer backend, okay, DevOps engineer, UI UX engineers, data engineer, data scientist, etc. So that is what I've kept as professional roles, instead of just software engineer, which we find in any other matrimonial website. But I've kept specific domains like roles, that this is one of the role which someone can have. Okay, and that is where I want to actually match, instead of actually going into the language level, because of course communication language anyways would turn out to be English or Hindi, or I mean any regional language eventually. So yeah, that is not something I'm kind of very very keen in the entire. At the same time, it's not just about tech, to be honest. It's a kind of mixture of both as well. Like, I've taken into factors like zodiac signs as well, so that there is not something which is entirely tech, because it would be a bit too much for some people, right? And because it's anyways a matchmaking thing, not really something you need to work together. uh, so yeah, I mean, like, I've taken like a mixed kind of factors, because that is, I think, a much more sweeter spot as compared to going actually into, let's say, something like language or frameworks, to be honest.
Why did you name it DevShadi? Like, I mean, so in the sense that when you were making this website or this, when you were building the solution, right? I mean, why didn't you maybe restricted to either dating or get to know each other types websites. Like, why did you focus on a wedding itself? Is there a particular reason?
So, like, of course, there is the initial thought of the entire website was entirely, kind of Shadi only, because I was myself, kind of considering Shadi as one of the factors, which is because a very common, industry is for this matrimonial website is actually this only, which is associated with Shadi word itself. So that was the very first thing. But then, as I started building, as I kind of realized slowly that okay, what is the potential users going to be like, and what is the market going to be like, I kind of reached out to a few people. A lot of people reached out to me, giving some feature requests, etc. So what eventually, like very recently, I kind of added a dating mode in the website itself. Okay, that you can just enable a mode which is known as a dating mode, and if you have enabled that, you would only be seeing profiles who have enabled those, and vice versa. Okay, so basically eventually like it's more of a kind of both. But now I've kind of bought the domain, and eventually bought the entire idea. So now I've kind of thought okay, let's just include Shadi and dating both into the platform, because it makes much more sense, to be honest, as compared to just keeping it Shadi. So yeah, I mean, it's not just Shadi, to be honest. At this moment, it is also having a dating mode enabled, which anyone can on or off at any time.
Yeah, but I think you shot yourself in the foot by naming it Shadi. So I think most of the people, at least in the beginning, until it really popularizes, will probably think of it as a wedding website. But eventually, yeah, maybe the word will spread. So is my understanding correct that the motivation in itself for you to even begin this project was, you were thinking about wedding or thinking about getting married, and then looking at alternative solutions, and then not being very happy with those and building your solution? Or is that the story, or is there a different motivation to even begin working on this project?
No, definitely. This is one of the prime motivation, to be honest. That is where the idea also popped up, and that is where I thought, "Ki, okay, I will get an idea of the entire, full end-to-end product development as well." So I thought, okay, let's give it a try. To be honest, I wasn't going in that serious initially, because I thought, okay, let's just treat it as a fun project. So I just thought, ki, okay, let's just start building in public. That's what we say, techies. And I just posted a few posts on LinkedIn. They received decent attention, not that crazy attention, but somehow the last post got exploded. It got very viral, and things kind of changed for me as well, because then I thought, ki, okay, it's kind of something which people are looking forward to, and something which is to be built seriously as compared to just kind of taking it as a fun side project. So yeah, I mean, that is primarily the reasons.
That is really a crazy story, right? I mean, so many people, I think about. I know so many people who have spoken about building a dating site because they're not happy or they're not getting any matches, and I think this and dating is something that is common to almost everybody, right? Everybody has to end up either dating or get in the dating pool before they get married or whatever it is. It is really amazing that you saw a problem that you were facing and ended up actually doing something about it. I don't think it's something that happens every day. Is it you? Are you the only person that is involved in this?
Yes, I'm the only person. Yeah.
So can you walk us through, like, like how you do it? Like, you're also a software engineer at BharatPe. So do you code once you come back from home? Do you do it every day? Is it only on the weekends? What about, like, isn't it expensive for you to host it or take care of it? So can you walk us through that process of maybe from zero to one, building this from scratch?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, to be clear, the day I posted this, the very first post about the platform which I'm building, I was mostly 60% done at that time. So it wasn't that I started building that day, to be honest, because of course I also needed some confidence before posting. I never thought of posting such things, that okay, I'm building some things. But then once I was done 60%, I thought, okay, let's give it a try, to kind of hype it up before releasing. Okay. So how it went was, that so basically, by this what I mean is that it's not just something which has been done in a month, or 1.5 months. It's been going on for quite some time now. Okay, I've been working on it for quite some time, and it's mostly beyond working hours, and as well as over the weekend. So like, to be honest, that's my hobby, building stuff, coding, and building cool stuff, learning new things. So that's my hobby. It's not something which I'm pressured into, or it's not something someone has asked me, or I'm expecting some rewards out of it. That's not the case. I just love doing this. Okay, so it's not just about this website. I've done it before, such certain kind of side projects, which of course did not go that viral, but yeah, it did have decent attention and decent downloads as well. So yeah, it's just that beyond work, or I would say over the weekends, or I would say things have changed a bit with the AI tools coming into picture. To be honest, you don't have to do everything from scratch. You can take help of these AI tools. They can of course speed up your development process a lot. And I was exploring these, and kind of looking around how people are using them. So I thought, okay, let's just try out something which is kind of something which you might think is a difficult or a complex project, but then let's take use of AI this time, and let's see how it goes. So yes, it's something which is definitely helping me out, speeding up my process, and acting as my, I would say, strongest teammate in this entire project.
So what AI tool do you use? Like,
So I'm using multiple of them. Okay, of course, GPT I'm using for a lot of ideas or questions. I'm using Claude a lot for coding. I've tried the latest Firebase development tool. I've tried Lovable. I've tried V0. So I'm using a combination of multiple tools. To be honest, the advantage I have is that of course I myself am aware of the entire code which these AI tools write, because I am myself a coder. So what I try to do is I marry a lot of solutions, and just take the best out of it and try to build something. Okay, and of course eventually if nothing is working out, or if something which I have, like a very thing which kind of AI is actually even getting more confused. So definitely my own development skills come into picture in those cases.
I'm really surprised you haven't. I thought when I asked that question, you were going to say either Cursor or Windsurf, or you didn't mention any of those.
No, I'm not using cursor or Windsurf. Yeah, not yet. Yeah.
May I know the reason why?
So I'm like, whatever I'm doing till now, I've gotten pretty comfortable with the names I've given. The tools of the name of the tools I've given, and things have been working out well till now. At least what I'll do is, at least till this project gets over, I will stick to these, and then maybe I'll try out some more tools, and maybe eventually compare, build something out of them as well. Okay, so it's more like, okay, the flow is going on right now, good. I'm pretty okay with what's the output coming till now. Okay, at the same time, a lot of history has already been generated in these tools for my entire idea. So I would actually just wrap it up in this way, and then jump on to some more tools. Yeah.
You don't even use a Copilot or any autocomplete, nothing, is it?
No, 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 no.
Oh my God, that is impressive. I think. Okay, okay. Going back to and like one of the things that I have noticed, or when talking to people who are either working in dating apps, right? I think signups for women is one of the biggest challenges. Are you facing that challenge of convincing women to join the platform? Because I think in general, I think the ratio of men is to women, like men who are looking for women in general, is more than the either women who are interested, or yeah, either women who are interested or want to sign up. So are you facing that challenge, and if so, are you doing anything to maybe tackle that?
Yes, actually, I'm anticipating this as a challenge. I've seen the response on beta registrations as well for the same. So one of the ideas I have for this is, to collaborate with women in tech. There is a community to collaborate with some women LinkedIn influencers, and at the same time, to collaborate, or talk to people who are, like women's college, basically, who are studying there. So yes, of course, a challenge I anticipate, and it's again going to be interesting how it turns out to be eventually, because this of course is a genuine problem, and it's not something which I can solve very easily, apart from the fact that I can just introduce some more, I would say, profiles beyond tech, because of course in tech the ratio is even more skewed. So yeah, that is the only way out. But at the same time, I do have some plan or ideas to include some female influencers, or at the same time, female influencers in tech, to be honest, and at the same time, also collaborating with some female women community which are running for tech specifically.
What advice would you give people who are signing up? Like once they sign up, like what advice would you give them? Like what should be the mentality going in?
Oh, yes, yes. I mean, like, of course, there is one thing which is common, and which the users which already will be knowing, is the tech factor. Okay. So I think the very easy or very straightforward way to approach or to have a conversation is to keep it kind of, tech oriented, at least in the initial level. Like maybe something like, keep what is the tech stack? Maybe, like what is the location? What is where do you work, etc. So basic conversations can build around these, very easy to, because see, the mindset for this is going to be common, right? Because the tech aspect is common. So let's just pick the common point and talk, right? Instead of finding the common point. Then, of course, once that common point is found, you find that level of comfort between the two. Of course, you can take it to any other platform like Insta, etc., and then take the conversations to like any other level. But at least for the initial phase, I think the very clear point between the two would be the fact that both of them signed up because the tech factor was common, right? So if the factor itself was common, then why not build the conversations around that one?
So, when is it? So, when will DevShadi launch, and when can people sign up?
Yes, so I committed a date of 11th May. Of course, it's very very near, but the fact that the kind of response I got on my previous post, the kind of emails, the kind of comments, DMs, etc. I got in, I realized that okay, there is something which is to be changed. So I changed a lot of things. To be honest, I'm still changing, in the process of changing. Hopefully, of course, I will release it on time. Till now, things look okay only. But yeah, I mean, if anything very major comes into picture, I might need to see. But yeah, like, I mean, mostly it's fine. But yeah, I did change a lot of things, to be honest. When I committed that date, it was kind of at a place where it could be released in a couple of days, but still I gave a date a week later. But then the kind of response I got, I did transform the platform a lot, and kind of made it even more interesting, fun, and geeky. So yeah.
Yeah, so I wish you all the best on the launch, and really hope that the launch becomes more successful. That the launch becomes successful, and I wish you all the best. So I want to transition a little bit onto your software engineering career a little bit. So you're an SDE at BharatPe. So could you please, if you may, give us some advice on people, on software engineers might be watching this, on how to navigate the transition? Maybe let's say from a fresher to SD1, SD2, SD3. Things that maybe one should study, one should upskill. How much time should they be spending on upskilling? Should they be only focused on doing their work properly? Just focus on the work, relax, and just keep doing that till you achieve, let's say, SD2, SD3. Or should they be doing courses on the side, programming on the side? So if you can talk a little bit about that, it'll be helpful.
So see, if I talk about going from the very beginning, maybe second, third, fourth years of college, definitely there are a few points which any student needs to consider, because they would be mostly common across all the colleges, as well as getting placed or getting internships, etc. And one of the very first thing is, of course, building real world projects, giving it much more priority than your academics, or of course than your assignments in college, because real world projects is where you can get that confidence ki, okay, I can develop or I can build something. It's not just about building real world projects, it's also about trying to get that user base, let's say even 100 users, even 1,000 users. Maybe just try to find any problem, or if you're not able to find, then simply just try to focus on a specific set of, I would say, audience. You would definitely find users. Let's say you are building something for your college students only. Maybe that solution has already been developed across the nation, but it's specific to your college, let's say. So for sure you would find that attention, you would find that at least basic number of users, which would give you that idea ki, okay, that's how users are going to use it, that's how things can break, that's how you need to change things quickly or slowly, you need to scale things or not, because eventually, see, if a project is being used by someone, only then that has value, according to me at least. Okay, if it is just sitting in your GitHub, just putting it your resume ki, okay, this is what I've developed, and nothing else, it's running in your local, that's not something like a cool project at all. Definitely this one point can actually boost your profile. Beyond profile, what I think is it can boost your own confidence. Okay, and that's what matters a lot, at least in the college days as well. Ki, okay, if you have been asked to build something, you yourself would be confident ki, okay, I can do it because I've done it before. Okay, at the same time, you yourself would feel that okay, I'm a good developer because I can also develop things, because till now, let's say, I haven't experienced industry. Okay, but then if you have that mindset ki, okay, I haven't experienced industry, but I've seen the real users using my code, exploring the things I've developed, at the same time changing things or breaking things and fixing them. So you would automatically get that confidence ki, okay, I can work in a startup or in an organization as well. So one thing for sure, like I've personally done it, to be honest, in my college days as well. So this, to be honest, before this DevShadi, there was this dating app I developed in my third year of college. So that was a React Native Android application which I developed. Again, I was just learning React Native at that time. It was fairly new, So I thought beyond learning, let's just try to build something. And again, I gave that example. There is something which is already existing, but then if you try to restrict it to a specific audience, you might find your user base. So that's what I did in college. And surprisingly, it actually reached at the trending spot in the dating category for 24 hours, because again, the hype and the number of users who kind of searched it again, kind of made it that way. And that's a very good addition to my profile, to be honest, because it was a live project. It was on Play Store for around 4.5 years. Very recently it got down because of some policies it's not following, and I'm not updating it right now. So yeah, I mean, that is there. Beyond real life projects, of course, basics of Git, REST APIs, basic DevOps, basic front end, back end. You should have a holistic view. College is the time when you should not restrict yourself to a specific tech stack, because eventually you are going to do that in your organization, right? You are, let's say, back end, front end, full stack. That's what you mostly will be doing in your organization, assuming it's a normal sized organization. But at least in college, you have that freedom. I can do 6 months back end, I can do 6 months front end, I can do 6 months data science. You can explore literally all the domains of tech, and of course there are multiple domains. The best part is that if you find your interest in a specific domain, I think that is where you have hit the jackpot, because if you have found a specific interest, or if you have realized, okay, this is particular domain I want to go ahead with, then what will happen eventually is your remaining time, be it 6 months, be it 2 semesters, 3 semesters, can be focused on that specific domain. And if that is done, definitely you are going to be way ahead of your competition, because first of all, a lot of people are not able to find their, I would say, sweet spot or their favorite domain in tech, and they kind of realize it after joining industries that, okay, this is not something I'm liking. If you are first of all able to find that initially in the college phase as well, beyond finding, it's also about mastering. Okay, if you are mastering that in actually your job, that is one way. Otherwise, if you have already mastered it in college because you already found your domain, now you are trying to master it as well. You are trying to build projects, okay, you are trying to build networks in that domain. I think mostly you are ready for any job, for any profile. At the same time, beyond ready, like, it's one thing is that, okay, you have cracked an interview. The other thing is you yourself are confident. I know this stuff. Okay, I am pretty confident about it. And if that is the case, I'm pretty sure that things are mostly sorted for you. You might have cracked an interview, but you yourself are not confident. That is where things might be a bit bumpy at the start of your career. But if the reverse is true, I'm pretty sure that even if you not clear an interview, you have that confidence, that okay, if not today, maybe tomorrow I'll clear it, or in some other organization I would be able to do it eventually. So that is, I think, that matters a lot. Of course, all of it adds up to eventually internships, networking, because all of these are closely related, interconnected. Okay, so if you are building something, the best part is that in college you can build in public. You can of course post as much as you want on LinkedIn, Twitter, okay, any platform you want. uh, of course, don't expect a lot of attention as such in the beginning. You just keep on posting, you just keep on writing stuff, keep on updating your GitHub, etc. Of course, there would be a point where if you maintain that consistency, let's say 6 months, 1 year, or 1.5 years, for sure your tech network would grow in the LinkedIn community. Of course, you yourself are responsible for growing that, but beyond that, if your posts are very very tech oriented in terms of building public, automatically your tech followers, your tech growth would be there on LinkedIn. Okay, and eventually, see, I've kind of personally reached out to a few college interns who were building in public. And I one of my seniors wanted to get something developed as a freelance project. And of course I did not have time, so I just thought of that person's name and reached out to him, and things worked out well. So yes, I mean, this is very very good, because eventually, if you are getting, first of all, if you develop something which people are using, that is one. Next is you develop something which someone else's kind of startup, or I would say a project which the other person is very serious about. Okay, so in that case, you have to just put in the development efforts. Everything else would be mostly taken care by the other person. Okay, because maybe scaling, marketing, okay, everything else, that would be taken care by the other person. But at least you are very responsible from the tech standpoint, because your own project, so you might think, okay, today it's working, tomorrow it might go down, it's fine, okay, see, it's mine only. That's one case. Other is if you work for someone, let's say an internship as a founding engineer, as a kind of such kind of roles, you would definitely have much more exposure. Okay, and see, it's not something which comes in a day. You have to be consistent. Eventually you will get noticed. If not, you have to reach out. Okay, things like that. Beyond this, of course, networking matters a lot. In college, after college as well, both attend meetups, attend tech events. Okay, attend as many as seminars, talk to people in tech. Okay, try to, I would say, build your network. Of course, grow your LinkedIn, grow your Twitter, and just keep on building things. Okay, you would definitely get something you are looking for sure.
Because of, let's say, we spoke a lot about these AI tools that are helping you ramp up things faster. Is there anything that students or even people who are just starting out, or even actively in software engineering roles, do they have to do something different or adapt differently, or or is it okay to follow the syllabus and do things as they were done before, and that should be still okay for now?
So see, yes, things have definitely changed in the past couple of years with these AI tools coming into picture. Okay, a lot of I would say way of building things, way of doing things, even in industry and in college has changed a lot. See, eventually, what how I look into it is, first of all, these are your good friends, the AI tools. They are not someone to replace you. That's not what the type mindset you should have. At least at the same time, see, if an AI tool is doing something, writing a piece of code for you, first of all, you should be having that confidence. Okay, this is what the AI tool has written. If given time, I can write it myself too. Okay, if that is the stage in which you are, for sure you should use these tools frequently, because they are going to speed up things, and you can focus your time on something which you don't know already. But let's say that you are entirely relying on them. Actually, it's becoming common in college students, as I'm recently seeing in the interns which are coming in, as well as I've communicated with the college students. The problem is that people are being over reliant on them. They are just giving prompts, getting outputs, copy pasting, and trying to get things working. Okay, you are not able to understand what it has given you. You are not able to find out the issues it could create. You are not able to understand the basics, or how the flow works, and you are just being over reliant on them. I think that is where the red flag comes into picture, and that is where you should actually consider not using them. You should only use them for the things which I say ki you are already aware of, you already know. But let's say you could take some time for you to do it, but then it's doing it a bit faster. So yes, that is how you can use it. Treat it as your buddy. But yes, if you are being this reliant, that okay ki everything AI will do. Okay, I have a project idea, I am building in public. Let's just ask the AI to build it itself. That's not what something you should actually go ahead with at all, because that's not where your basics, your foundations will be built. Okay, and that's not where eventually you would be ready, or you would be prepared, because it's possible that certain organizations can ban AI tools, of course, considering data uh, security as well. So very very possible that okay maybe the AI tool is not being used in an organization, or very much possible that you have been asked to debug something which an AI tool has written, and now you are totally blank what to do. Okay, so yes, for sure, I mean it's good to use them, because eventually, see, these are tools to help us, but not to be that reliant on them. Ki you are just considering ki if this tool is not there with me today, I don't know anything. So that should not be the case. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this reliability is too reliant on these tools can be a problem, at least if you're starting out. I mean, I was reading something on LinkedIn today itself that so there was an interview, and a person had coded an entire app and for the internship, for the internship interview. But when asked basic questions about how this works or how that works, clueless, absolutely, like was not able to answer any of those questions, even though there is a website running, and even though the tool is functioning, but basic knowledge is missing. So I think that's going to be a major problem, I think, where if you don't know the fundamentals, it doesn't matter what the cursor tool spits out if you're not able to tweak it, or it's going to be a huge headache. You have also done a master's in software engineering, if I'm not wrong. Is that helpful? Would you recommend people would you recommend people do it? Because I think it's 2 years of your time. So is it better to just get experience as a professional, or spend those 2 years in college and doing masters? Is that useful? Is that helpful? What would you say?
So see, like I'm a very goal driven person. Okay, so I have a set of goals written somewhere, and like my entire, I would say, a lot of efforts go into completing them. Okay, so how I take it is the fact that I was looking for a better college tag, to be honest, than my bachelor's, and that was one of my goals. That okay, I just needed a better college tag. Okay, to be honest, if you already have a good college tag, okay, and you consider taking a master's, assuming you want to step into the industry, okay, assuming you don't want to go into that academia or research domain, assuming you want to step into industry, I would say it will not be that beneficial, because the courses are again like a bit more plus advanced than the bachelor's, but at the same time, eventually the industry work would remain same. Okay, whatever a fresher is stepping out of a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, they would be given the same set of work, assuming they are at the same skills. Okay, because eventually if none of them have industry experience, both of them would be treated as freshers in the industry. Okay, so that is of course one factor you should consider. It's entirely personal, and like why I pursued it is again purely personal. I wanted like this a better college name, and like a master's degree. So that's where it came into picture. But yeah, like if I talk about how it could help you out in the industry, uh, maybe not in the actual implementation phases of code, but maybe yes in getting shortlisted in certain profiles, which you might be looking for. At the same time, if you are looking into research or any other domain, let's say you want to go into PhD, research, academics, like if these are the domains you're looking forward to, of course a master's is for you. You should definitely do it. So yeah.
If I can go a little deeper there, in the sense that, so I mean, your motivation you mentioned was for obviously for a better name college, but is there a motivation behind that as well? Is it because I mean, without a good tag, you were not being shortlisted for interviews, or it was difficult in the market? Is there a reason like that, or you just wanted, like in general, like a good college name tag always helps, or looks pretty better than, let's say, any other different colleges?
Oh yes. So of course, the reason was not the fact that I was not getting shortlisted. Neither it was the fact that it's something which is going to clearly make you shortlisted, at least because I myself seen that. But of course, the reason was a more general one. So see, I did have time to pursue masters. Okay, and at the same time, I was very clear on the fact that I'm going into the tech domain, and I'm going to stick to the tech domain, not divert into MBAs, etc. Okay, so of course MBA was out of the question there, and the fact that I was very keen on this tech domain as a long-term journey. That is where I thought, okay, let's just try to improve your profile in terms of, let's say, not today, but maybe let's say if I talk about 5-10 years down the line, this college would still be there. So that is how the thoughts came into picture. That is how things kind of played out for me. It's not just for the fact that I wanted to get shortlisted to certain companies, or to kind of, because I haven't actually updated that in my resume as such. So yeah, I mean that is there. So yeah, I mean the reason was primarily as a generalized profile, and something which I kind of felt was missing from my bachelor days, personally, to be honest. And that's something which you always have that in mind. Okay, if not in bachelor's, then maybe let's try it again in masters. Okay, so that is where I think a kind of very very sort of personal preference, personal choice is where things came into picture. And yeah.
You're currently working at BharatPe. BharatPe, I think, as most people know, is a unicorn. So there are obviously very few unicorns in the world, and in India per se, in India as well. I don't know if you can shed light on, what is it? What I don't know if I'm sure you've worked at non-unicorn companies as well. So is there a difference? What is it like to work at BharatPe? General thoughts in that category.
Yes, yes, definitely. So of course, BharatPe, like it's been a very high growth fintech startup, and you have a very reasonable scale at which you operate. Okay, so definitely things which you see, which you learn in terms of tech scale, reliability, or the fast pace, keep you apart from it, let's say your, I would say, hobby projects, or anything which you are developing. So a lot of things, of course, how industry works, how things go in scale, how things can break if the scale is, let's say, Diwali is coming, shopping is increasing, merchants are getting a lot of transactions. We need to do some drills. Okay, we need to do some activities to be ready. Okay, and of course eventually be prepared for any kind of scale which could come up into picture. Okay, and of course this is not something which you can experience at a personal level, because accordingly you cannot actually afford that infra entirely. So that is where I think you have that, I would say, advantage, or you have that learning set of skills which you can acquire from an organization like these, which operate at this scale. At the same time, of course, the team size is reasonably good. Okay, there is like a reasonable number of engineers which have collaboration, which have multiple team impact. So definitely teamwork is something which adds up to all this. Okay, you get to learn a lot when you're working on a team versus when you are working alone, okay, on a project. At the same time, you actually are going to see a lot of features which merchants use in day to day life. Okay, and that is what actually makes you very proud about what you are developing, what you have developed, or what you are building. Okay, and that is where actually I would say your entire motivation ramps up, or you think that, okay, see, that's what I was looking for eventually. That's what uh, that's what gave me the kick, okay, to do develop things, and that's what made me what I am today. So when you see that happening, I think all of it uh, of course boost your confidence, increases your overall tech knowledge, your overall profile in terms of how what you are developing, what and why you are developing, and you get even more clarity. Okay, that's what I've been doing, that's where the bigger picture was, or that's what I'm looking forward to. So yes, interesting journey. I've seen a lot of things at BharatPe. From the entire Rashneet saga to the phase where India was Dubai trip and BMW bikes were a part of their hiring campaign, which of course I was also a part of that hiring campaign only. So yes, I mean from that phase till today, wherein we are preparing ourselves for an IPO in the next 1.5 to 2 years. Things of course have changed a lot, considering the fact that we were actually shipping a lot faster earlier, considering the fact that, okay, we were more on features heavy. At this time we are more on stability heavy. So we have seen that transition, that okay, let's go from features heavy to stability heavy, and to also ensure that we are reliant in terms of tech. So yes, that's what it is.
I'm really sorry. So you were hired in terms of the bike. Like, can you maybe elaborate on that?
So okay. So if you are not aware, in 2021, BharatPe released a hiring campaign. Okay, the campaign was okay, you get hired, you clear our interviews. Okay, you would be given a BMW bike and a Dubai trip. Okay, and the Dubai trip was basically the at that time BharatPe was the ICC sponsor. So Dubai trip was basically the India versus Pakistan cricket match. To be shown there. Okay, so that is what the hiring campaign was. 2021 August, September, July, August, September. I think 3-4 months the hiring campaign ran. Okay, around 100 engineers were supposed to be hired. Okay, and that is where I got hired, and of course I was rewarded with these.
So you ride a BMW bike now?
So of course you get an option to get the cash equivalent. So I chose the cash equivalent.
Oh my God. That's a wise choice, I think. I don't know. Is there anything different working at a fintech company as opposed to, I don't know, some different vertical maybe? Is there anything like that?
So one thing is for sure, a lot of things, basically, security matters a lot in fintech, of course, like because money movement is there. At the same time, latencies matter a lot over here. Okay, you have made a payment. If it is not reflecting in, let's say, a minute, 30 seconds, even in seconds, okay, things could escalate a lot. If a payment has been made, a notification goes later, but actually the payment has been done. Okay, things can escalate at that level as well. So yes, I mean this is one of the, I mean, 2-3 factors which are very different, as compared to working in any other, let's say, let's say a B2B space at least. Okay, in which things cannot escalate that much. At the same time, maybe it's not that important. Okay, if an email notification would go up 2-3 minutes later, it's fine. But over here, if things are like latencies increase, or I would say transactions don't work, or any page stops working, so a lot of things could escalate at a lot of levels, because eventually there is money movement involved, and and the reliance of UPI in India, it is crazy at this moment. So if UPI, let's say UPI central service is another thing, but let's say if UPI central service is working and our provider is going down, again, a very very major issue, and something which is to be taken kind of critically. So yes.
Final question, which is, you are also BharatPe is also a company I think which is not based out of Bangalore. I mean, when I think about Indian tech, I mostly think about Bangalore. You guys are I think based out of Delhi. Is there are you happy with the Delhi culture there? I mean, any plans to moving to Bangalore? And do you see any differences between? What is like the Delhi tech culture like?
Yes, yes. So first of all, I'm based out of Delhi only. Like my school, college, okay. I mean, my bachelor's and my previous office, all of them were in Delhi, and of course, BharatPe is also in Delhi. So, like one of the factors behind choosing BharatPe was the fact that it's in the same city. Now, if I talk about the tech factor, or I would say the startup factors, I would say reasonably good startups are actually also out of Delhi. At least I've read one of the LinkedIn posts. I remember that mostly all of the companies which got listed into the stock market are actually NCR based, be it Zomato, be it Policy Bazaar, okay, be it MMT, be it Paytm. Okay, so I mean, like you can see that the Delhi tech market, if I talk about as compared to Bangalore. So the thing with Bangalore is, of course, ki, okay, there are a lot of startups, and I would say ki there are a lot of early age startups more as compared to Delhi. So like you would find a lot more small, like very very, I would say, small startups evolving a lot out of Bangalore as compared to Delhi. But yes, as an overall tech culture, we have reasonably good companies. We have Zomato, Blinkit, of course, Zomato, Blinkit. We have Spinny. Okay, we have of course BharatPe. We have Paytm. Okay, so like I mean, these are some good names which are kind of we have of course, okay, Razorpay is there both in Bangalore and Delhi. But yeah, so like yeah, we have some reasonably good names, and of course, if any tech community or tech event happens, I have met people from these organizations, and of course, definitely a good in terms of networking, communicating as well.
I think on that note, Anant, thank you so much for taking the time today on a Friday night. And, again, a lot of well wishes and best of luck for the DevShadi.com launch on 11th. And yeah, thank you so much.